Hey all, this is John Pitroff. I'm the founder and owner of Second Chance Composting in Adams, Massachusetts. I'm just going to show you a little demonstration here about how you can compost your food scraps at home. So basically you're going to have your food scraps that you save at your house. You probably want to save them in the summertime. You're going to want to probably do this once a week. In the winter you can go a little bit longer. At home you can compost almost everything except for meats, fish, and sometimes dairy. The only reason you can't compost those things at home is because it brings in a lot of animals. On a commercial scale you can compost that stuff, it breaks down. But at your home, in order to prevent having bears or other animals, it's probably best to keep the meat, fish, bones, dairy, that type of material out. However, on a commercial scale, you can compost that stuff. That's why there's some confusion. So, you take your banana peels, your apples, your bread. You just want to make sure you take off any of the stickers or twist ties, anything like that, and only have food scraps in there. Then what you're going to do is, however much you have, you're going to mix it with a high carbon material. So food scraps are high in nitrogen. They're going to smell if you just leave them sitting there in your yard. They're going to attract animals and bugs. However, if you have a high carbon material, if you have brown leaves, save them at your house or get somebody to bring you some. People don't want them, but they're really good for composting. Or you can get some wood chips if you know somebody that does tree work. Or you can contact a tree person and they'll gladly bring them to you. Or we have here sawdust. This is from a firewood company. Make sure you don't get sawdust from a carpenter or anybody that's using pressure treated wood because the chemicals will seep into it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your 1 part, however much you have. Say you have a 5-gallon bucket's worth. You're going to take 1 part of your food scraps, your nitrogen, and you're going to put 3 parts of any one of these, whatever one you have on hand, whatever works for you. Some of they break down differently, but as long as you have that carbon, you're going to be okay. So 1 part food scraps, 3 parts carbon. And what you're going to do is you're going to mix it together. And then when you create the pile, you're going to put a layer over the top, over an inch or more layer over the top. Probably better than an inch. Not as much as you have, but the more the better. Over the top of the pile. And that keeps the heat in there, and it also keeps some of those smells and things out. Once you have the carbon in there, it's going to start breaking down. The smells aren't going to be a problem. Now, you can do it in a big pile in your yard. I've done it with some chicken wire fence and some stakes and just made a round thing like that. You can just do it in an open pile. There's different ways of doing it. Some people like these turners. This one already has the leaves in there and it's got food scraps in there. You can't even tell it's in there. There's some bugs doing their job already. And this thing, you can turn it and give it air. So you're going to put it in a pile. You're going to wait a little bit. And that's my baby. I wanted to check things out. You're going to put it in a pile, and then you're going to let it sit for a few days. You're going to check the temperature. You don't have to check the temperatures as often as someone like us in a commercial scale does. But if you monitor the pile, you're going to want to turn the pile. Basically what you're doing is you're giving it aeration. The microbes and everything in the pile that breaks everything down needs air to live. Think of it as a fire. So it's going to heat up. Once it starts falling in temperature, you're going to turn the pile. You're going to come back a couple weeks later, you're going to turn it again. You're going to come back a couple weeks later, turn it again. And just be mindful of it. And say it starts smelling or you're seeing it not break down properly, add some more carbon in there. And that's pretty much how it works. Anything other than that, it's kind of up to you how you do it. It's kind of like doing firewood. There's a particular way you have to do it, but there's also, you can do it with your own style. So if you want to get one of these you can buy, or you can do it right in the pile in your yard, or you can create some sort of bin or something using wood to keep it in. But that's basically the gist of it. So hopefully this will get some people composting from the home level. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that would need answering. I think that will probably cover it. Just you want to keep your pile getting bigger and bigger. You're going to want to turn it to give it air, and you're going to want to have enough carbon in there, and you're going to want to cap it with a layer of carbon as well. And that's pretty much it. As you turn it, after some time on a commercial scale, we can, if everything goes right, we can get finished compost within about 3 months. It doesn't always go that way. Sometimes it's longer. And one other thing, you want to make sure the pile has enough water. But usually the rain will kind of take care of that for you. You don't really have to water it. Sometimes it's been dry for a long time. You might want to hose it down a little bit. Just give it a little water. And this is what you come out with. This is finished compost. So this is after it's broken down, and this is everything that you see there broken down into nutrient-rich compost. And what you can do with this is you can put that back in your garden. You can plant more trees. You can plant more fruits, more vegetables. You can grow it throughout your entire garden. It's a soil amendment, rich in nutrients. This is a living thing, and this will grow more food locally. And so you're taking a product that people think of as waste, and you're turning it into something that's going to help the future. So that's it. Hopefully that answers some questions for you. Again, this is John, founder and owner of Second Chance Composting in Adams, Massachusetts. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks for tuning in.